Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today we're going to be looking at the new models for Slaves to Darkness. These were given to me by Games Workshop early, and I have assembled them all, so I will show you what they look like. But first of all, let me just show you what I have. I have Chaos Chosen. They are the same ones that were out in the new Slave to Darkness army box. There are 2 of these in that army box. We have the Ogroid Theridons, also a pack of those in the army box. Same models, same everything. The assembly guide will look slightly different, but the same models. We have, for the first time, an Exalted Hero of Chaos, which I kitbashed. So you're going to see an alternate version of him. We have the Eternus Blade of the First Prince, who can be alternatively made into a Chaos Lord with Demonic mount. And we have Chaos Knights, previously not out before. You will see older versions of all of these, but these have been redone this year for the first time in forever. For the first time in forever, we've got new Chaos Warriors. And the new Daemon Prince, who can be either a Warhammer 40,000 Daemon Prince or the Age of Sigmar Daemon Prince. And again, he was also out in the Slave to Darkness army set. But in this one, you have both the assembly guide for him as an Age of Sigmar model and an assembly guide for him as a 40,000 model. Before I begin though, I want to reiterate the Slave to Darkness army set. I just checked it out based on the current prices of all these guys. The Slave to Darkness army set is currently available, but it's running out. You save about 44% of the cost of getting all of the miniatures and the battle tome and the war scrolls separately. So getting the box saves you 40% of your cost. Even if you do not care about the war scrolls, which seem to have vanished from Games Workshop's website. There are no war scrolls of any armies now, oddly. If you don't care about those war scrolls, I like the war scrolls, but if you don't, then you're still saving about 38%. Or if you do not care about the battle tome, for some reason, you're still saving, and the war scrolls. You don't care about anything but the models. You're still saving 26%, give or take, based on different currencies. So the first one we are going to look at is Eternus Blade of the First Prince, who could alternatively be assembled as a Chaos Lord on Demonic mount. I assembled him as Eternus. Eternus has the random flags on his back, his spiky little helmet, a special dragon unicorn mount, not the official name, but that's what I'm going with, and he's wielding a halberd. The Chaos Lord of Demonic mount, on the other hand, would be wielding either a hammer or a lance, and has a flowing cloak on his back instead. As you can see, I very carefully assembled him separate from his mount at the beginning. Now, after I put him on, I could see that it would actually have been better to assemble his left arm with the reins all as one piece and put that on before you attach the body, because of the 3 spikes that he has on his chest, and trying to get those 2 reins underneath the horns of his mount is a nightmare. So do as I say and not as I do. But that's what I'm here for, right? Trying and failing so you don't have to. If you're doing sub-assembly, that is. If you're not, well then you can ignore what I'm saying and follow the assembly guide, with one exception. Keep the spikes on his chest off him until the last possible moment, because they'll get in the way. Next to the Chaos Warriors, there is a group of 10, and you can easily make them different because each of the different heads fit on each of the different bodies, and you can either have them all wielding halberds or you can have them all wielding weapons. And the weapon could be whatever you choose. You get more weapons than you need to apply, so you can make your models look different every time. This fellow is the champion. I chose one of the heads. You had 3 different head options for him. and he's got a bigger skull on his shield. You can, of course, create him as not a non-champion easily, because the champion is whoever you choose, but he's champion-esque. We also have a banner bearer. There is no penalty whatsoever to wielding a banner bearer. There's only a bonus if you build a banner bearer, so there's no reason not to. There are 2 different banners to choose from, so even if you have 2 groups, you can have 2 different looking banners. And of course, the helm that you choose with them and the weapon that you choose with them will be changed as well. And then we also have a horn blower. Now, the horn blower is one that has a very specific head. It is a bit finicky to try and get his horn into position so that his lips are actually attached to the horn. So you're gonna have to work on that a little bit to orient it properly. Or you could use one of the other helmetless heads. The champion had a helmetless head option who was just crying out in rage, so you could always use that. And then everyone else is as you like. All sorts of different weapon options. The shield that you choose could be on any of them. The helm that you choose could be on any of them. And the weapon that you choose could be on any of them. All the halberds look basically the same, but all of the weapons all look different. So it's up to you what you want. And I just chose ones like, I was like, he likes spikies, so he's gonna have a spiky warhammer. And then this one like really likes spikes a lot, so that's why he has the shield that has all of spikes, and his helmet is full of spikes. He likes spikes. And then this guy's just creepy because he's got some skin faces on his helm, and so I gave him a slightly ragged looking sword and the one horn. For the most part, you don't really have to worry about mold lines. All the mold lines are hidden on these ones, which is really nice. If I recall, a lot of them connect right here. So you will want to just go over with some thin plastic glue, like this guy, to get rid of those mold lines. But in a lot of cases, they have the stitches going along there, so it makes sense that there's a line where they attach. So they really did well to hide even these basic fellows. Except for this one. This one I'm going to have to fix. There's a little line going across that multiple layers of plastic glue will fix. I think I only did a couple layers across, but multiple layers of thin plastic glue will fix that, so it looks like it's a seamless line. That is them. Next I have to show you is this guy. He is the kitbashed guy, so his head actually is the head for Eternus in the Chaos Lord variant, and the shield is the Chaos Lord mounted shield. But I thought these 2 pieces look so great, I wanted to use them somewhere, and I like them better than the original Exalted Hero of Chaos. Not that there's anything wrong with him, I just really wanted to use it. So he can either be wielding an axe or a sword, so you'll want to choose that. An axe, a sword, and a shield, or 2 axes. That is a functional difference. You want to read the war scroll to decide which one you want. And the shield gives him a bonus to his save and gives him a ward against mortal wounds, while the axes give him extra attacks so they don't hit or wound just quite as well. So here are the 2 different head options that he would normally get. And this very nice looking shield with skulls across, which would be the size for any of your warriors if you want to put it on him and on them instead, is what he would look like. But with a little bit of jury rigging, kit bashing, I was able to fit this head and this on here. So I did that by cutting down the part of the arm that attaches to the shield a bit, and then I could attach it pretty seamlessly like that. And then I hacked down his neck a fair bit, setting it into place, seeing if it looked good until I was satisfied. and then using plastic glue to seal it in place. So I like him like that. If you wanted to do it like that, or you could even turn him into a Chaos Lord not mounted if you gave him an alternate weapon. Next, we have these Chaos Knights, for some bizarre reason, are push fit. You may know that I don't particularly care for push fit, and assembling these reiterated the reason I don't particularly care for push fit models. As with most push fit models, there isn't much in the way of options for them. Your leader can have 3 different kinds of weapons, either a flail, a hammer, or he can be wielding the lance, but everyone else is pretty set. Again, you do want to build one with a standard bearer, though you can choose not to if you didn't want to, and you can build one to be blowing a horn, and again, there's no good reason not to build them that way. There's no disadvantage to it. So, all push-fit models have a peg and hole system. Now, what I suggest is never doing, particularly these models, never not use glue for it. You want to stick a whole bunch of glue into the hole, you want to put more on the peg, and if you really want to make it easier on yourself, you can even carve the peg into a stake. So that you can assemble these models with ease. All of these guys have to be pushed together, but these are spiky models, so if you don't want to hurt your fingers when you're pushing them together, get one of these handy things, which is a pair of reverse tweezers. In this way, you can keep your fingers from the spiky bits that are on these various models and push the pieces together from the safety of these tweezers. And then just keep the tweezers on it until it's dry. Or you can devote yourself to chaos and push them together with your bare fingers and enjoy the pain. Up to you, really. Up to you. Unlike Eternus, the rider's legs are not separate from the horse, so the only thing that you can kind of do is keep the shield separate for ease of painting, but the shield in most cases is attached to the side of the face of the horse, so that makes it a bit difficult. So like I suggested with Eternus, I would suggest you prime these metal, since it is going to be a bunch of metal, and in that way you can get a lot of the details of all of the hard to reach places just in one move. Or you prime it black, but I think metal, particularly for new people, would just be easier. Whatever you want all of these etchings to be, probably silver metal or a bronze or gold metal. Just spray prime or airbrush prime. Remember, when you're priming, you do not want the model to actually look wet when you're priming. Not dusty, but not wet. So stop immediately when you see it wet and make certain you're never spraying directly onto the model, you're spraying across the model. There's one note that I have for myself and for you on the third one. When you have 64 and 27, it is much easier to attach 64 to 27 and then attach these two pieces to the model. Number 38 on the sprue is actually 37, and number 37 on the sprue is 38. And that's it. They are going to be totally chaotic to put together. Believe me, but you can do it. Pay attention to Assembly Guide. I am going to show you each one up close so that maybe I'll show it in order that you assemble it. So maybe it'll be a little bit easier when you're going, what in the world is this that I'm looking at? Alright, so here's number 1. The champion. He had 2 head options, so you want to make certain that you're choosing the right left side of the head to match the right side of the head when you're assembling him. And for 2, this guy. Looks great. All of them really do look nice. Oh, and you will find that there are 5 55 pieces to fill in this hole. That's all. There'll be 5 of them. Now, next is I put a corn piece on top. Thankfully, it does say which is which if you're still unfamiliar, which is which. Now, this is not necessarily in-game sort of thing. No one is going to freak out if you happen to have a Tzeentch symbol and you're playing Undivided, or you happen to have a corn symbol and you're playing Tzeentch, something like that. It's not relevant to their rules, so it won't really matter. You choose whichever one you like. I'm choosing corn because I just happen to know I'm going to be using them for corn. Or Undivided. Number 3 is the Hornblower, if you choose to give him the horn. I must say that these pieces are slightly thicker than some of the other Warhammer Age of Sigmar models. So these guys are going to be tougher. I would not suggest throwing them about, but the pieces should be tougher. Not old Stormcast Eternal or old Orc tougher, but pretty tough. This one is for 4444, which looks like you. And you do kind of want to stick to the helmets that are suggested, just because they're they fit so closely into their particular body that unless you want to do a bit of kit bashing, you might have trouble fitting them. And of course, the shields do have to go with the particular horse because each of the horse's heads are shaped differently or have a different design to them. And then lastly, 5. I really like the look of these guys though. I think they look really nice. Not that I had anything against the previous. Well, look, this guy's got like a king hanging out. Creepy. Alright, that is the Chaos Knights. Now, next guys. They are the only push fit ones. All the other ones are not push fit. That leaves us with the guys that are actually in the Chaos Army kit. Oh. So first we're going to do the Daemon Prince. Now I've got 2 Daemon Princes because one came out of the army kit and one assembled from the box. While I was assembling these other ones, a friend started assembling this for me. She was supposed to do it in the 40k variant, but she was just following the assembly guide and made the mistake of starting to assemble it as an Age of Sigmar one. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that mistake. First off, you can choose either to have hooves or feet. I'll show you what the hooves look like. Hooves. Or clawed feet. And it doesn't matter which one you want, it's your preference. Clawed feet. Once you do this first page and all the way up to the end of step 2, if you want to do Age of Sigmar, then you keep going to step 3. However, if you want to switch over to do the 40k one, then you have to skip all of these pages and start on step 5 so that you can wield both the arms for the 40k variant and start building on all of the breastplate and the 2 shoulders. Now, she accidentally started building the Age of Sigmar variant, so technically this higher raised arm is only for an Age of Sigmar variant, which the Age of Sigmar variant can have it a lower with the weapon just out in front of him, or raised up but the Warhammer 40,000 one, to fit his particularly large arm, can only be raised in front. The Age of Sigmar variant has you choose between the sword, the axe, or 2 malefic talons, and you can either have wings or a trophy rack. The wings give him the ability to fly across terrain and give them a movement of 12 instead of 8, where the trophy rack allows nearby guys to not have to take battle shock tests. So they each have their benefit, and you choose one or the other when you're assembling. As you can see, I chose both of the winged options. I like the freedom of flight. For the 40k variant, it really is you choose wings for an extra 35 points, or you choose one of the 2 other variants. You could have the trophy rack, though it does nothing for him, or you can use this more iconic Chaos Space Marine backpack, since in the lore, the Chaos Demon is a Chaos Space Marine turned into a Daemon Prince. A mark of chaos that you want to choose on his shoulder, as well as 6 various heads. 4 of the heads are for a particular chaos god, but really you can choose whichever one you like the look of. And he also has various tail options as well. Now, for actually assembling them, it's pretty straightforward. You will want to hold onto the wings for a long period of time as they're drying, because the weight of the wings takes a while to set. It is very straightforward to hide all of the mold lines by just applying, again, the plastic, the super thin plastic cement after it has dried or while it is drying, to get rid of any mold lines. Everything fits well together, and it tries very hard to hide any mold lines that you could have come across anyway. Everything works really nicely on this kit. It takes several hours, but it's super fun to put together. Okay, now we also have the Ogroid Theridons. As I said before, you cannot necessarily change them into the Ogroid Myrmidon, even though it's the same size, but you could if you wanted to kitbash one of their weapons to turn it into the spear, basically, that the Myrmidon uses. You do want to build one with a banner, which you choose the mark for, and you want to build one with as a hornblower, and you will get to choose between either giving them axes or swords with shields. You will have 4 head options, and each of the faces can go on each of the different horns, so you can make them quite different from each other, and each of the shoulder pads and the arms can go on each of the torsos. So you've got a lot of variety, even when you're building multiple units of these guys. Was there any difficulty in assembling them? No, I don't recall any such difficulty. They really worked well to hide all of their mold lines, except for in this little butt area. But for the most part, it's completely hidden, and just layers of plastic glue will hide it. There is a lot of rounded parts for these, so just be careful when you're using your knife not to accidentally gouge. And the best way I found to avoid gouging when you're taking off the bits of a sprue off your model is to carve it down gently to where it's almost completely gone, and then turn your blade over and nice and gently use it as if it were a file to remove the rest of it. And that way, no matter the curve, you won't be over gouging your model, and it goes away nicely. Or you can use a mold line remover for that process as well, but I find the back edge of a knife to be much the same as a mold line remover. You can just shave off tiny bits at a time. To make it nice and smooth. Alright, now we have the Chosen. So the Chosen, just like the Warriors, are very straightforward to put together, like 7 pieces each. And you get a lot of different options to choose. They all use what's called the Soul Splitter as the weapon, so you can choose whichever one you want. I have a bunch of the different weapons now because I've got 3 kits have chosen now. And you have the option to have all helmeted or helmetless, because each model has a choice of a helmet option or a helmetless option. So these guys all fit together pretty well. You've got your leader, you've got your drummer. Again, no reason not to give him a drummer. You can still use whatever weapon that you find on him. You've got a basic guy. Some of their heads are a little pointed down for my liking, but you can carve or use plastic glue to kind of push them into place however you like. You've got your standard bearer that you choose the particular mark, and I chose corn. So the bodies themselves are monopose, but because you can choose whichever option you want, it's easy to make them all appear different. And that is what we have in Slaves to Darkness. Those are all the new Slaves to Darkness models. Every single one. You know, besides all of the ones out in Warcry that are in existence at the moment. So if you had any questions about any of these, you should make certain to comment below. I tried to answer everything that I could think of, but if you had any questions, make certain to comment, and I will get to you. And yes, you know what, I kind of think, like, because of all of the metal, you might find it easier to just paint all of them, all sorts of different metal. And then you can use washes and contrast paints over the metals to make them all look different. Unless, of course, you have, if you're going black, mostly black, then you probably just want to paint them black, because a lot of the metals can go really nicely over black. So if you're mostly having your armor black, then you probably just want to prime it black. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Make certain that if you had any questions whatsoever about these models, I've assembled so many of them now, you should make certain you comment below about it. Other people might have the same question if I missed it. So don't be afraid. If you enjoyed the video, if this was helpful to you, you should let me know in the comments below. You should give me a smile for the new year in the comments below. More videos on sewing. I just recovered from a sickness, but I'm back on track now. I will be putting out lots more videos than I have been, so you can subscribe to watch it. I will catch you in the next one. Bye! Thank you very much, patrons, for your continued support, and thanks for the conversation in Discord, if you have joined our Patreon Discord, of course. I hope you have a fantastic one. This weird color on my nails is actually just a single layer of Berserker Bloodshade shade. I haven't been able to play with them as much as I wanted, so I was like, well, what exactly does it look like? And it totally looks like drying blood. It's pretty awesome. You can just go through the video and check it out, but yeah, it definitely looks like drying blood over skin color. Totally. So mix it along with some blood for the blood god, and you've got some cool realistic blood effects. And this is a great consistency, and how it likes to pool. It would look really nice if flecked on people's faces as well. Just a little bit of fleck. Like on a toothbrush or a paintbrush, just go. And it'll even fall really accurately. Just make certain not to do it too big, because, you know, they're supposed to be teeny little flecks of blood. Not like they didn't have someone throw a bucket of blood on them. Probably. It's just flecks from fighting. Okay, bye.